Exodus chapter 16, verse 18. But when they measured it with an omer, whoever gathered much had nothing left over, and whoever gathered little had no lack. Each of them gathered as much as he could eat. So in the end, when they measured it with this omer, right, there was nothing left, right? Those who gathered a lot, they had nothing. Those who gathered a little, they had no lack. It was exactly as they needed, not more, not less. God provided exactly as, not in their wants, not in their greeds, Christians, in their needs, Christians. I mean, just imagine if all Christians would have lived according to their needs and not to their greeds, how this world would have looked like. The churches would have had so much more money to give towards missions or any kind of church planting or any kind of thing. But yeah, in the end, we as Christians live according to our greeds, and so therefore we don't have a lot. But in this case, no. Just as they needed. God provided just as they needed. Not prosperity gospel, you gave 10 and you get 1,000 back kind of idea. No, just as you need. And they all gathered just as much as they could eat. They all had exactly enough. Verse 19. And Moses said to them, let no one leave any of it over till the morning. Right now, are they going to listen to this? In other words, Moses telling you, you need to eat it all today. If you can't, you must not leave anything for tomorrow, right? This is like in certain cultures, you never leave food behind on the plate. I grew up like that. I already spoke about that. You eat all the food. You don't leave a crumb on your plate. And in other cultures, you're supposed to leave a bit because if you eat it all, they're going to put more food on your plate till you leave some. Okay. Now, in this case, it was not that kind of a culture. It was more my kind of culture. In other words, you eat it all. You lick that plate clean afterwards. And some people do that actually. Nothing must be left. So the question is, are they going to listen to Moses? Verse 20. But they did not listen to Moses. Some left part of it till the morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moses was angry with them. No, before at least they listened to what God said. Now they didn't listen to Moses. But remember, if you don't listen to Moses and they're speaking for God, then you're not listening to God. And that was the whole point. God is testing them. So again, we're not just listening. We're listening to God, but we're not listening to Moses. No, making the same mistake. You're going to get away with it. Because why? What was the result of it? The parts left. There were worms in it. And it stank. Now, man, just imagine. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I would ever have wanted to eat manna again, because if I would have thought, all right, I leave it for 5-6 hours overnight, and in the morning there are worms in it, then there must have been some worm eggs or something here. And I've been like eating worms kind of idea. I don't know how I would like it. But anyhow, no, we don't know. I mean, even, like from a human point of view, I just want to say, right, that even if there were worms eggs, the worms overnight, you're not going to get, flies come out very fast, live 2 days kind of idea. But in a couple of hours during the cold, these things are not going to, out of this little egg, come a worm that can eat everything and it all can stank already. This had to be a special kind of, again, a worm, a natural thing that God is using as judgment on them for not listening, not to Moses, but to him ultimately. So, yes, Moses was angry with them. Why? Because not that they didn't listen to Moses, because they just grumbled. God provides for them. And what do? They don't listen to God again. I mean, so what do you do after that? What would you do to your child after that? Just say, oh, great, here's another sweet for you. Now, lots of Christians and cultures these days, especially in the West, they do that. And then they ask questions, why are the youth totally off the road and drug addicts and whatever, right? It's a mess, the West. Because they just say, oh, here's another sweet for you, right? Oh, you're such a good boy for not listening to me. Showed yourself your independence. Wow, great for you. No. Doesn't work like that. So what's going to happen to them? Verse 21. Morning by morning they gathered it, each as much as he could eat. But when the sun grew hot, it melted. Okay? So in the morning, they gathered as much as they could eat. So they had a hearty breakfast. Maybe that's where the idea of hearty breakfast came from. They had a hearty breakfast, but when the sun came out, right? When it started getting warmer, then this ultimately it melted. Okay, it's like snow before the yeah. So I mean, ultimately the gathering of the stuff outside. So it's not just a question. Okay, they go. So if they didn't gather what is out in the morning, if they slept in the day, then sorry, they had no food. The lazy people don't get to eat. Right? The Bible is clear about that. It's kind of a bit, but it's not fully Proverbs 6:6. I remember that was the first Bible verse they taught to us in Sunday school when I was like 5 years old. And gaan dan die muur lei uit, kyk na sy weer en word wys. Now, yeah, that's Afrikaans. Go to the just slug it, look at his ways and be wise. Now, I mean, the whole point is in verse 7, there's an important point in explaining that. But it's a little bit misinterpreted. It was misinterpreted for us. Or I see Jesus done for us, and just looking at the fact that lazy people not allowed to eat, or they can't. But here's a fact: if they didn't go out in the morning and worked and gathered, all of it would have melted away. There was nothing for the rest of the day. So this says that lying out there, if they didn't go and collect it, it's going to melt, because some they collect it, but then they're not allowed to leave it for the next day inside, because then the worm's going to get and it's going to stink. So they eat as much as they could, and sun grew hot, it melted. Because so again, it's not now after gathering, take it into the tents, and now the sun comes out. Now it melts there in the tent, kind of idea. Just those that's not been. So God is cleaning the manna for the day, so that it's not left and then worms comes in them. For example, God is now He keeps this area very clean. He doesn't leave any manna lying around for nothing, and to make the whole place turn the whole place into a stinking mess. No, He let everything melt away. Next day, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. People go out, gather as much as they need, come back, put it away in the tents, eat during the day. By night time, everything must be done. Morning, go again, rinse and repeat. But there's still another thing that's going to happen, because there's a Sabbath that's lying ahead. Okay, so we're in a hotel here, on the balcony of a hotel where we stayed. I don't want to, kind of maybe in the comments I can say, the people here are very hospitable. They treat us like family, Christian as well. So lots of hotels we stayed in lately, especially in this part of the world, by Christians. So it's very nice, and the people really treat you with care and love. So praise God for that. Again, just a beautiful view in the end with the sun now. Just the time-wise, so it's today the 29th of October, and at 16:13 at the moment here in Mizoram, northeast India.